I'm Jonathan P. And right beside me is Michael Wood. And welcome to 1497 Podcast.
And we've got you covered with news from the entertainment world, intriguing interviews, everything to do with sports, and of course, we're going to make you laugh along the way.
And I want my damn respect too.
Yo! Welcome back to 1497 Podcast, baby. I'm your host, Jonathan Keaton, with my boy on the side, Cooper Noard, a.k.a. GBS Guard Sensation. How you doing, Cooper?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Man, I'm doing good. I didn't pronounce your last name wrong right there, right? Like everything was good on that?
Nah, you're good, yeah.
All right, cool. Cooper, I gotta ask, what's your favorite football team?
I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan.
Oh, so it must have been rough watching the Colts play yesterday. What were your feelings about Carson Wentz?
I thought he played pretty well. I was watching the game and he was making some good passes. He didn't really have a lot of time to throw. His offensive line wasn't really there, but he played pretty well.
Now, with Carson, because I thought Carson Wentz played pretty well too. Like he got sacked, I think once or twice. But other than that, he played pretty good. And with Carson Wentz had a journey where it wasn't like any other journey. Like he always got injured. Something was always in the road or blocking the road for him in his journey. So I want to know, what is Cooper Noard's journey and how did you get to the point that you're at right now?
Man, that's a good question. For me, it's just about like hard work. Growing up, I didn't really hit a growth spurt until I was about a sophomore in high school. Before then, I was usually one of the smaller kids in my grade. And like going into high school, before my freshman year, I was 5'6" and only 110 pounds. And now I'm 6'2" and pretty close to 170. So it was all about just hard work for me, trying to outwork everyone and try to make myself and my teammates better.
I feel that because like a lot of guys in the basketball position, some of them are like really, really short, but some of them are really, really tall. So like they have to use their height to their advantage because like that's what you do in basketball. And for you to hit that spurt and then exceed at that spurt, that's awesome. And then hard work is going to come with that because hard work and criticism is going to come with that too, because like if you're really, really tall, they're going to be like, like he's just good because he's tall. And then you got to prove all those odds wrong. So talking about those odds, there is an elite backcourt with you and someone else on that GBS team. I've been hearing all about it. So, and it's rare to have like an elite backcourt, in high school, and you're part of one at Glenbard South. So how was that chemistry built? And do you guys like have any like nicknames for like your cold backcourt?
We don't really have any cold nicknames for us. Like, I don't know, but like the chemistry kind of started when we were really young. Like me and Nick grew up together. We've been playing together since probably 4th or 5th grade. And it's just been like the whole time it's been amazing. Like we feed off each other. Nick obviously thrives around the basket and my best shoot is probably on the perimeter. So usually we just go with each other and our team and our chemistry is just so good that we always find each other when we're open. And I wish we had a nickname for our duo. I wish we could, but we don't. I think that might be something I give a thought.
Yeah, you gotta establish a nickname. You and Nick like gotta sit down and be like, man, like our backcourt's cold. We gotta give something cold. We gotta give it a little pizzazz, a little spice to it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I gotta ask, what GBS and you and Nick in the backcourt, can you guys win state this year? And if you guys can, what will it take for you guys to win that state title?
I really do think we can win the state championship this year. It's going to be tough, but I think we got a really good group of guys that really play well together. And we had a great coach, great program. And I think if we had it a year to go down state, I think this would be our year. And really the biggest thing for us would be just kind of playing together and working hard as a team every day in practice, like never taking days off. And we got to, because there's going to be struggles down the road for sure. We just got to get through those as a team and live for the highs.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you 100%. And every team, especially when you make it to state and you're lifting up that state trophy, every team has a story behind the scenes. So I want to know, like kind of asked you this with like your journey, but I want you to dive deeper into it. What is the true story of Cooper Noard?
Well, when I was growing up, I wasn't really like the best basketball player. Like I told you, like I was short, like fourth, fifth, sixth grade, going into middle school. I wasn't a bad player, but I was never like the best player on my team. Like I was never like the guy that stood out to everyone. I was usually the guy that was just there and made plays every now and then. So there wasn't many good times, but I had a lot of fun and I really liked the game. And as I started to grow a little bit and become a little bit stronger, I started working on my game, and really into high school is when I really made my leap. Like going into freshman year, I made the freshman A team, didn't get moved up. I was kind of angry about that, but in the end, it worked out. We had a really good freshman year. And then sophomore year, I made the leap to varsity, and that was probably one of the best years of my basketball career is my sophomore year. We played and we made it. We won a regional, and then we made it to sectional semifinal and lost, but it was a really good game. And overall, it was an unbelievable season. Like with Dominic Martinelli, my guy, like he was great. Like he was a great teammate. He's an awesome player. Probably the best. It's debatable, but he might be the best player in Glenbrook South history. It's either him, Jack Cooley, or maybe even Nick. Like who knows? But he was definitely up there for sure. He was a great teammate too, great guy. And that team was overall just amazing.
And you were talking about your sophomore season. Also, shout out Nick. Shout out Glenbard South. Gotta throw those shout outs out there.
You keep saying Glenbard is Glenbrook.
Oh, it's Glenbard? Oh,
Glenbrook.
Glenbrook? Oh, my bad. My bad. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So you were talking about your sophomore season and how that was your best season. So what was the best game that you played throughout that season, and what game stood out to you the most throughout that season?
Well, my favorite game that season was when we played at Maine South. They play like a nice little 2-3 matchup zone. So I kind of thrived in the perimeter. I think I had like 20 or 22, and it was at Maine South. And so they had that nice little student section going, and it was just overall fun. It was kind of packed. Like the student section was screaming, and we went on the run during the fourth quarter that kind of shut everyone up, and we ended up winning by like 16. And it was just so much fun.
Okay. Shutting down the crowd. I know, like, especially Maine. You said Maine South, right? Maine South is definitely a tough place to play at. They got a cool basketball court too, but like their fans is absolutely insane. So what was your best game? Like what game was like, man, Cooper dropped like 40 something, like something out of the ordinary?
I didn't drop 40, but I think my best game was against Cary Grove high school, and I think I had like 25 against them. That was probably my best game. That was my sophomore season.
Ooh, I mean, as a sophomore on varsity, 25, that's still good.
Yeah, it's good.
But balling up against the seniors and juniors, and you dropping 25 as a sophomore? Shit.
Yeah, it was one time. So I mean, I had to get my shots up every now and then.
I feel you. I feel you. Also, congratulations on committing, man. You know, committing is
Thank-
such a special moment in a young athlete's career. What made Cornell the best option for you and your family?
Well, honestly, like when I really like decided like where I want to go to college, I really want to go to school with like a really good education, like set me up for my future. So when I was at Cornell on a visit, obviously met with the coaches and some of their players, and all of them were just like really nice, like kept in touch with me. The coaches were really nice. Their campus was beautiful, and I don't know, it was after my visit, I just decided that like it was something that I definitely wanted to be a part of going into the future.
I feel that. I feel that because your education comes first. Because as hard as it might be, like you're not going to be able to play basketball forever. So like you want to
Yeah,
fall on something where you also love and you can also get that great education for it at Cornell. Well,
for sure.
congratulations again, man. That's an amazing
Thank you, bro. I
accomplishment.
appreciate
I
it.
hope you and Glenbark have an amazing season. I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna be like, man, Cooper out here dropping 30, 35, 40,
I
10,
hope,
and
man.
5. Ooh. But thank you for coming on to the show. And before you go, I'm gonna have to ask you some NFL picks. So I'm gonna need you to
All
get
right,
into your
all right.
football mindset real quick.
I got a football mindset.
Now, cool. That's what I want to hear, Cooper. That's what I want to hear. All right, so you talked about your Colts at the start of the interview. So we gotta finish off. Rams, Colts, who you got?
Oh, this is a tough one for me because I've been a diehard Colts fan since I was young. My parents grew up in Indiana, grew up as Colts fans, but I don't know. I think the Rams are a really good team, and obviously the Colts, they looked okay last weekend on Sunday or yesterday
Mhm.
against the Seahawks, but I got to go with the Rams. I think they're going to
Okay.
win by 10.
Yeah,
It's a
Matthew
tough.
Stafford was man. He was throwing the
He
ball
looked
today.
good yesterday. He's on my fantasy team, so I had to root for him.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team. He's on my other fantasy team too. And when I was like looking at the score, I'm like, oh man, this is so ooh, made me tear up a little bit. 49ers and the Eagles, who you got?
I got Niners. I got the
Okay,
Niners are a solid team this year. They looked pretty good against the Lions until that fourth quarter.
that's
So
true.
I'm gonna go.
Okay. What about the Chiefs and the Ravens?
Oh, that's a week 2 matchup. Ooh. I like both teams, but with all the Ravens injuries in the preseason, like Dobbins, Marcus Peters, I think I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Okay. Can't go wrong with going with the Chiefs, especially what they did
Yeah.
against Cleveland yesterday. The
Oof.
Broncos and Jacksonville.
That's another tough one because I feel like they're two pretty decent teams. The Jaguars didn't look great, and the Broncos looked. I mean, they looked pretty good against the Giants. So I'm gonna go with the Broncos.
Okay, Mile High. Okay,
Yeah.
The New York Giants, or the Washington football team.
Football team. I think their defense is gonna help them win that game.
I agree. Titans versus the Seahawks.
Oh. Ooh. I think I'm gonna go with the Titans. Nice little comeback game for them.
Okay. Bengals versus the Bears.
I might I might get a little hate for this, but I'm going with the Bengals. The Bears
Honestly,
defense didn't look great yesterday, and I don't think they played well against the Rams. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
honestly, I can see it happening. Like it's
I can't.
something that could happen. Last but not least, the Patriots versus the Jets.
Patriots. I like the
Really
Patriots for sure.
took a long time to think about that. I thought you was
Yeah,
going to say the Jets for a second.
I like Zach Wilson, so I think I like him, but I don't know. I think it's the Patriots. They have a
Okay.
good defense.
Okay. Respectable. Thank you, Cooper Noard, for coming on to the show. Cooper, you got any shout outs? Got anything else to say before we let you go?
Shout out to all my boys, my Illinois Wolves team, UA champs, baby. And shout out to my high school teammates. It's going to be our year.
Yes, sir. Glenn
Yes, sir.
Barg. Yes, sir. All right. Peace,
Yes, sir.
Cooper.
Peace. Later.
Later. All right. So my boy Cooper's gone. And that was a great interview. Thank you, Cooper Noard, again for coming on to the show. We got to talk. You guys. We got to talk. And honestly, we got to talk about the Cowboys. We got to, because everyone, and I mean everyone, thought the Cowboys were going to get absolutely destroyed on Thursday. But their defense played well. Their defense didn't play great. Their defense didn't play bad. Their defense played well. And I really think that's one of the key takeaways that we need to talk about in the game, because everyone thought that Cowboys defense was going to be absolutely horrific. And they played pretty well. They were able to keep up with the Buccaneers and make them punt the ball here and there. I think Chris Godwin got away with the offensive pass interference that could have led to third down, and the defense could have tried to stop them again. Ultimately, they're still in field goal range. It just made the kick a lot closer with that play. And one of the main takeaways from that game is how good Dak Prescott played. Dak Prescott played absolutely incredible in that game, because ultimately you knew going into the game the Cowboys were going to pass the ball and they were going to do it a lot. But we didn't think that the Buccaneers were going to let up as many passing yards as they did, because ultimately that defense is still overall, it's still a top 10, top 5 defense in the NFL. So with Dak coming back as well, we didn't think Dak was going to be like that. Like, watching Dak play was like mid-season version of Dak Prescott, of the Dak Prescott that we saw before the injury happened. So that was a great performance by him. 400, I think he threw for 401 yards with 4 TDs, and he was able to get his team into field goal range to kick that field goal to put them up. And then sadly, Tom Brady, you know the drill. If it's under 2 minutes and Tom Brady has the ball with his offense, 9 times out of 10, he's going to get into the range of a field goal or he's going to score. So it is what it is. Overall, it was a great game. It was a really great game. And then yesterday, with football being back, me just laying on my couch watching the Bills, then watching the Bears and watching every other team play, it felt good. What didn't feel good is my Buffalo Bills losing to the Steelers, because I was talking a lot of stuff. I'm not going to lie. I was talking a lot. I was saying that we were going to beat the Steelers. We're not going to need to worry about the Steelers. We're going to be just fine. Josh Allen was taking a little while to get ready, or not get ready. He was taking a little bit to get back to what he was like last year. And Stephon Diggs looked pretty good. Cole Beasley had a couple drops, which that's rare for Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley is usually catching everything that comes his way. Gabriel Davis had a nice touchdown. But Josh Allen, what really worried me in that game and looking into more games is Josh Allen running the football. And the reason I say that is Josh Allen was running it, but he didn't have the ball inside. He had the ball a little bit out of it. And that was the main cause of the fumble the Steelers recovered to score. And then that fumble fed off of the defense playing better and the special teams to get that block punt to let them score again. So the turnovers we gave to them, they scored off of that, and their defense was playing really good, really, really good. I'll go out on I'll say they played great in the second half. They weren't playing as good in the first half, but the second half, Steelers stole the show from the Bills. They really did. And my Bills are fine. It's only one game, and it's a long season ahead of us, but we have to fix those flaws. And one of those flaws being Josh Allen running the ball and having the ball out. So you, as a defender or anyone on the defensive side, would be able to punch that ball out. We can't have that because 9 times out of 10, if you're playing a team that can score, those turnovers turn into points on the other side. Another thing that shocked me was how good Joe Burrow played. With the as much criticism I gave the Cincinnati Bengals and how they should have went Sewell instead of Jamar Chase, it made what I saw yesterday, made me rethink everything I said because they looked really good. Jamar Chase, I'm pretty sure, had 2 touchdowns, was catching everything that came his way. Joe Burrow was looking really, really good too. And that Vikings defense, everyone's back, I'm pretty sure. And they have Patrick Peterson, a couple new additions on the team. And Joe Burrow was looking really good, man. He was looking really good. Jamar Chase was looking really good. Tyler Boyd got in some action. T. Higgins. That team can have some surprising wins this season. They can have some surprising wins this season if they played like they played against the Minnesota Vikings, because the Minnesota Vikings aren't a bad team, and that defense is not a terrible defense. So going into Chicago, I think that's going to be another game where we're like, I think that's another game where it's like, okay, we have to see how he does against mid-tier to good defenses. So man, Cincinnati, y'all shocked me. Y'all shocked me. Another team that shocked me was the fourth quarter Lions. It was like Matthew Stafford was there, but he wasn't there. And the defense was playing good too in the fourth quarter or in the second half. Shout out Justin Stewart. I know Justin Stewart was watching the game, big Lions guy, but the defense, it was like the 49ers thought the game was set in stone, and it looked like they weren't even like trying anymore. But the Lions were like, no. Dan Campbell's like, no. I don't want to bite no kneecaps, but we're going to get the ball back and we're going to score and we're going to make this a game. And they made it a game. One play, turnover, next play, turnover, and they were able to get some key stops too. It's sad that they weren't able to score on the last play. Jared Goff didn't have anyone open, and the pocket was collapsing the more time he was taking to try to get someone open. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I think it was great. It was a good performance by the Lions in the second half. And look who just joined. As I'm talking about teams I'm surprised of, Mr. Wood, the greatest co-host out there, talk about your Eagles. I know you want to talk about the Eagles, so go ahead, talk about the Eagles.
Oh my goodness. The Philadelphia Eagles are here, baby. We're back to 2016, 2017, all them years for them. We looked good. Hey, you can say it was just the Falcons, but that offense, all them young studs, Jalen Reagor looking better than DK Metcalf. Come on. DK Metcalf is out of the top 5 receiver combo. Not sure why he was even there in the first place. Not that matters, but the Eagles looked good. The defense, listen, we let them get into the red zone the first 2 drives. First and goal, and we held them to 2 field goals. So that was pretty impressive to a good offensive team with a guy you really like in Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage didn't really do anything, although he wasn't that involved in their offense. But the Eagles looked whether or not you can be like, oh, it was just the Falcons or not, we won't know. Next week we play the 49ers, who had a tough one with they blew out the Lions really, and then the Lions came back late. So that'll be the first real test of the season. But from the first game, Eagles looked good, man. Uh, unfortunately, it was against the Falcons, so I can't brag too much, but I can still brag a little bit because I think it was the biggest win of the week. So
Yeah, at least you can brag. I ended up throwing my water bottle at the wall after the Bills game. I was flustered, man.
I mean, listen, I was filling out the not filling out, but I was making the current standings for our records, right? You're 0-4 and I'm 1-3. We did terrible. It was
Yeah.
God,
So
it was bad news. The Titans, though, remember I said the Titans were gonna blow out the Cardinals, and it was just the reverse. It was just the reverse.
I was so surprised, but I mean, I thought it was going to be a game, but I didn't think that was going to blow Tennessee out the water because like Tennessee's defense is not that good. Like
No, they're not. They're
they got
not.
a
Yeah.
couple additions, and we thought they were going to like hold the Cardinals for like a couple possessions, but we thought it was going to be like last second, who's got the ball, blah 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 this, blah blah that. But Arizona put their foot on the gas pedal and just didn't let off at all. And Kyler Murray played well. DeAndre Hopkins played good. I'm pretty sure he had a touchdown. Christian
He had
Kirk had a
two. I think he
touchdown.
had
Yeah,
two.
D Hop was playing great. Christian Kirk came up with a tutty. But man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Matthew Stafford, man. I know it's the Bears, but the first game Sunday night, man, Matthew Stafford looked like he's ready to go for that Super Bowl journey, Mike.
Hey, he did. You're right. But there's a cool stat. I think I heard this on Keyshawn, Jay Will and Max now. If you've been watching that,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're in the loop with that. And Matt Stafford is 8-65, I think, all time against against teams with winning records. It's something like that. It's not a great record. He has 8 total wins in his career against teams with winning records. So I'm not getting too excited. I've known Matt Stafford is super talented, but we still have not seen him do it against a team, a formidable opponent. The Bears defense, it's been good. Like previous years, really good, arguably a top 10 last year even, and that was an off year. Um, but still, I need to see him do it against winning teams, and that division is the best in the NFL. Best in the NFL. Every team won in that division, which is the opposite of the NFC North. So it's I it's exciting if you're a Rams fan because you're like, wow, we finally got this guy, especially after watching what Jared Goff did with the Lions. Not that he was terrible, but he wasn't impressive. So yeah, Matt Stafford looked great, and I want to see him do it against a top 10 team in the NFL.
I thought Jared Goff played like you said. I didn't think it was like wow, but like for his first start, it was all right. It was good. I thought it was Jared Goff good for his credentials and everything. That was good enough for Jared Goff.
Yeah, a quarterback. Speaking of Jared Goff, came in the same year as Jared Goff. Carson Wentz broke his ankle or whatever. He broke his ankle, right?
Yeah. Or
Dude was
yeah, for sure.
supposed to be out 12 weeks. He was not supposed to be back till week 8, and he pulls up week 1. Did not win. Did not win. But he played pretty like. Hey, he wasn't Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts outplayed Carson Wentz. I'll give you that. But Jalen Hurts and my Eagles played the Falcons. Carson Wentz played the Seahawks, whose defense somehow looked really good.
I was
I don't know
surprised by
how.
that.
But yeah, Carson Wentz threw for 250 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, it's pretty darn good if you ask me. 250, 2 touchdowns, no picks. It was just really, I don't know what was going on. The Seahawks were just super efficient. The Colts struggled on third downs, but Carson Wentz looked good. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to back up my MVP claim from earlier this year, but he looked good. Maybe not MVP good, but he looked pretty darn good.
Uh, Josh Allen might not be able to back up my MVP claim I got for him right now because he didn't play at the level I've seen Josh Allen play on Sunday. But I'm going to reiterate some stuff I said before you came on. Were you surprised at how good the Bengals played without like their offensive line like being that good?
That's a great question, actually. You know, they chose weapons over protection, and it worked out week one against what I think is a borderline top 10 defense personnel wise. Maybe at the end of the year, what we might look back and be like, okay, all these guys have fallen off, but personnel wise, they have one of the best safeties in the league, and then a bunch of top 5, top 10 guys at their position, except maybe their corners, which is really where the Bengals won. Was the secondary of the Vikings really is only Harrison Smith, because they lost Anthony Harris to the Eagles. So I wasn't surprised at how well they were able to throw the ball. I was surprised that Joe Mixon was pretty effective too, without an offensive line, because he hasn't been good without an O line. But they had a pass game going, but I don't expect that to keep up. And like you said, I still think Penei Sewell would have been a bigger addition to that team and more helpful than Jamar Chase. But Jamar Chase, give him his flowers. He played pretty good, and he backed up them picking him so high. But I don't think he's going to continue those numbers throughout this whole season.
Yeah, they come in. I think they're playing Chicago in Chicago next week.
Yep.
And I asked Cooper, and Cooper had the Bengals winning. And like I told Cooper, I can see it. I can see it happening. I could really see it happening, because the way that our defense looked against the Rams, like the Rams' offense is really good, especially with Sean McVay and how his gadget plays really work and how he moves around like all the guys and like his motion stuff. But I could see it. I could see it happening. Now, when they play like their top 10 defensive division with Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, and they still look like the way they did week one, I'm going to stop all my criticism about Penei Sewell and their offensive line.
Yeah, I don't know how much you touched on the Steelers, and not the game as a whole, but the Steelers need to get some respect. Mike Tomlin needs some respect, because this Bills team is, in a lot of people's minds, the first or second favorite to come out of the AFC, behind Kansas City or just barely ahead of Kansas City, however you look at it. And the Steelers, their offense did not look good. Neither offense looked good at all. Both defenses looked pretty good, but the Steelers' defense was suffocating. I mean, Josh Allen did not know what to do with the ball. Not that he was just throwing picks and stuff, but he was getting flustered and rushing passes. And sometimes I was watching the game with some buddies, and sometimes he was just whipping the ball at someone, because like as soon as the ball was snapped, he had pressure in his face, and he was just chucking the ball out of his hands really fast and just throwing piss missiles. And no one was able to catch it because it was coming out so fast, and they couldn't adjust to the ball. So I actually expect the Steelers to be a top 5 defense again this year, and I expect the Bills to bounce back big. Who do they play next week?
We play Miami next week.
I expect them to bounce back big against Miami, because Miami barely beat the Patriots, who were check down city. So Bills are going to bounce back. Steelers are going to keep it up for a majority of the season.
Yeah, the thing I touched on with the Steelers and Bills game, and I know we're talking about like football a lot, but it's open week. Give us a break. Give us a break, guys. Sit back and relax. Sit back and relax and listen to us talk about, the pigskin, throwing the pigskin around. Anywho, so I was saying, like, the Steelers defense wasn't playing great the first half, but the second half, like Drake said, they took a flip of the switch. Like, they literally flipped the switch, and they played absolutely great in the second half. And them and their special teams had 2 key turnovers that really won them the game ultimately, because I feel like if they didn't get those turnovers, the Bills would still probably won that game.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it wasn't a fun game for me to watch. It's just, I'm a big defensive guy. Like, I love watching good defense. but that was more so just bad offense than it was good defense for a majority of the game. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that game. But hey, both of those teams are going to be good teams and threats at the end of the year. Probably more so Buffalo, if I'm being honest. Although Pittsburgh did look good on defense, their offense has got to figure something out because they couldn't do anything. I honestly don't know how they were able to win that game, just because how bad their offense looked.
Nah, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. But I gotta say, that's why I wore this. Completely off topic. This man, number 4, goes by the name of Dak Prescott. Played so good. Had 4 TDs, Mike. 4 TDs. 400 plus passing yards. Put his team in field goal range to have the field goal to put them up, and then they lost. But still.
Is you saying Dak Prescott was the most surprising QB? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying Dak Prescott was the most surprising QB out of this week. Or not out of this week, but out of the games that occurred so far, because we still got the Raiders and Ravens tonight.
That's a tough take because there's a lot of ways I could go with this question. I could go with Dak Prescott, who came off a big injury. I could go with Carson Wentz, who came off a broken ankle just 5 weeks ago. But I'm going with Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh,
Aaron Rodgers was terrible. The former MVP doesn't throw a single touchdown. I'm not sure how many games that occurred in last year, but I can assure you not a lot. 2 interceptions, and it wasn't. God, man, I don't know what to say. It was terrible. He is my my fantasy quarterback too, so it was a abysmal week for me in fantasy. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers playing the way he did has got to be my. He got outplayed by Jordan Love. That's got to be my surprising quarterback. But I got to give flowers to the other quarterback in that game, Jameis Winston. 5 touchdowns, no picks, quarterback rating of 130, almost perfect if he would have thrown more passes, but he did not. And I told you, top 5 QB in the NFC at the end of the year. We might be talking about top 7 in the entire NFL if we're being honest with ourselves, because Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, is no longer going to be put in any of my rankings because he's not playing, and so Deshaun Watson is now taken out. So my quarterback rankings add 1 spot for the top 10 now because Deshaun's out. But yeah, Jameis Winston honestly looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He looked like a prime Drew Brees, where he was just throwing short, meticulous passes, just picking apart the defense. He wasn't throwing bombs. He looked really good, and Aaron Rodgers looked really bad. Never thought I would say that about a Jameis Winston versus Aaron Rodgers matchup.
Yeah, and then there's a statistic shown on the broadcast on Fox. Or no. I saw this on your favorite Instagram page, PPF, Pro Football Focus, and the stat was like the rate of like someone throwing the ball into the dirt. I think it was like I think it was like 33 point something or like 34 point something, and then Aaron Rodgers QBR rating was 32, and they showed Aaron Rodgers QBR, and it was 32.8.
So like basically, he would have been better off just throwing it in the dirt.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, honestly, I don't disagree with that. God, it was so disappointing because I love Aaron Rodgers. Packers are one of my favorite teams because it runs in my family, the Green Bay Packers fandom. And fortunately for myself, I'm an Eagles fan, and I don't align with anyone in my family because everyone in my family who likes a team, the Jets, Packers, and Bears, they all lost. My team's the only one that won. So I picked the right team looking at it from a week 1 standpoint this year.
I got you. So there's a little pop culture news. I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna let you.
All right, you tell me what you got. What you got?
Nah, cool. So basically, right? So Kanye was supposed to drop like a diss track on Drake because like Kanye and Drake, they got their little beef going on, and there's something about Kanye I was waiting for today to share, but I completely forgot about it. Like it completely slipped my mind. That's why I wanted you to go first because I was trying
Okay,
to.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Let me see.
Yeah, so I got a few things. The first one, I'll just start off. I know it's past, but I wasn't on Thursday to do it in advance. Probably should have posted something on Instagram, but 9/11 was on Saturday, the 20th anniversary. So I just wanted to pay respect to all those who were involved in 9/11, all those who passed away, the heroes that saved lives that day, and everyone who's been affected by that, because I know it's a big thing. And yeah, it's tough to deal with for people who are involved with, and it's still kind of tough to talk about now, 20 years later, and hopefully it never happens again. But yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone who's currently serves, everyone who's did serve, and firefighters, policemen, all the first responders that were there on that day and that are currently serving now.
No, yeah, I agree. It's an important thing to talk about, and like to this day, even though it happened in 2001, like you still get really emotional like about it because it was such a horrific scene for all, all of America that that day on that day. And that I want to pay my respects to everyone that's in service, everyone that was in service, and like everyone that's like training to get there with like ROTC with you and like everything else with that, like fighting for your country. It's the bravest thing that you could ever do in the aspect of life. So I just wanted to pay my respects as well.
You have you want to do the Kanye thing? You find it?
No, I'm still trying to look for it. Like Kim Kardashian sobs over Kanye marriage's woes on Keeping Up. So as you know, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, lovely show, all of that. And Thursdays, Keeping Up with, or which follows the family blah blah blah, family on a trip to Lake Tahoe, footage of Kim Kardashian breaking down into tears. Emotional moment about unraveling of her marriage. So, one, I think she really misses Kanye, and two, I think she definitely dropped some seclusive bombs of her getting her bells rang by Drake.
Yeah, isn't Keeping Up with the Kardashians canceled? Like, didn't it end? So that might be an
Oh,
old episode.
Oh, you for real?
Yeah, I think so. Not that I'm too into it, but I think it ended.
What?
Um, yeah,
You for
yeah,
real?
yeah. Pretty sure it ended.
Oh,
I was
wow.
just gonna say it's kind of funny. I'm looking at news here, and like every other story or every third story is about the Kardashians. Like, what did they ever do? I mean, now you got Kendall and Kylie who have Kendall's got like her makeup and all that, and Kylie has her makeup, and Kendall's like a model. So yeah, I get that, but like Kim Kardashian, like, come on, she didn't do like, I mean, she did something, but she didn't do anything deserving to become as famous as she is. But that's not the point. Um, I don't know if you're a fan of the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but that is now can't. It's over. It ended.
Really?
Yes, and then also there was a Machine Gun Kelly concert pretty close to me in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I didn't go. Machine Gun Kelly's not my kind of music, especially after Eminem sent him out of the rap game. So yeah, I mean, those are just a couple things. I have a few friends who went down to, or went over, I guess, to the Machine Gun Kelly in Council Bluffs. So yeah, not a whole lot happening besides Stephen A. Smith publicly admitted that he asked
That's
for
what I
Max
was gonna.
Kellerman,
That's what I was gonna say. I
which
don't know
is
why I said Kanye. That's what I was gonna say. Cause my aunt sent me a Twitter video of like Stephen A. Smith like talking about like the rumors of Max Kellerman leaving First Take, and then straight off rip, he just said, I'm gonna just address it now. I wanted Max off the show. I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa, because like everyone was having like this narrative, like they had like a really good relationship and like all that, and he just flat out said like, yeah, that was part of the reason he left, or yeah, because I wanted him off the show.
Yeah, I didn't like that one bit. I also don't like you can like not you can have an issue with the guy, which I don't. He said that they didn't have issues. He said that there was no chemistry, which is that's come on, are you kidding me? He didn't show up on Max's last day in person to say goodbye. He called in and it was a half backside apology. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith lost a lot of my respect from that whole situation. And that's why when I brought up earlier Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, that's the new show that Max is on is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. It used to be Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. But yeah, so Max is now on there. And the ratings for that show have spiked. They've gone so high. I'm pretty sure they hit an all-time high for that show. And First Take has hit all-time lows since Max left. I think it's pretty funny. Or I don't think it's all-time low, but it's pretty low, which is funny. I always kind of liked Max more because he tried to bring facts into it, where Stephen A. Smith, back in the day, Stephen A. Smith would bring facts. Now he just yells. So yeah, that's a tough situation, really. I don't want to say I don't like Stephen A. Smith, but I think that's very disrespectful the way he handled it.
No, yeah, I feel you. I feel that. I feel that 100%. Do we got 14 questions, 97 seconds today, or do you want to wait till Thursday?
Wait till Thursday. Wait till
I
Thursday.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to, address that just in case like you're like, oh, whoa, 14, 97. That's
Yeah,
that's
we also got to bounce back from our NFL picks on Thursday
yeah,
because that was brutal.
that that
We
was
could
not
do
that was not good at all.
we could do college football picks right now if you want.
All
I
right,
know
let's
it's
do it. Let's do it.
not till Saturday, but I got 6 games for you.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So I'm going to tell you the game. You're going to give me your prediction, then I'll give you mine, or I can
All
give
right.
you mine first.
That it doesn't matter either way.
All right. Alabama at Florida.
Man, I wanna say Florida. I really do. I really think Florida has a chance. You know what? I'm gonna say Florida. Go Florida. Go Gators. I got Florida.
Wow. Wow. See, that's when I was making this, the one that I put in automatically was Alabama over Florida for you. I didn't even think there's a chance you went Florida. I went Alabama. I think Alabama is just the best team in the second.
No, they're the best team right now. Who
I don't
comes
know.
close? Who comes close offensively and defensively?
I think Oklahoma, man. I think Oklahoma really is like that. But they didn't do too well against Tulane, so obviously people don't want to pick them. But I'm still high on OU. Next game is Cincinnati at Indiana.
The way that Indiana looked against Iowa, I don't know who they played last Saturday, but I'm gonna have to take Cincy. I feel like they're gonna want to prove that they're still a top 10 team in the nation because how they looked against I think they were playing Murray State on Saturday and they almost lost to Murray State. So taking Cincy.
They were in a close game and then they ended up blowing them out. But I went with Indiana on that one. I think all the reasons you picked Cincinnati is why I picked Indiana. I think that they're gonna really have a chip on their shoulder going into that game, and it will be close, I think. But I just got to go with Indiana. Got to go with my gut. Game 3, we got Auburn at Penn State. Penn State, one of the toughest places to play in the country. Who do you got?
Penn State. Penn State should be a top 10 team already. Just how they play. I know it's only one game, but the way that they play at Camp Randall, another hard stadium to play at, and how their defense played against Graham Mertz, which was a highly talked about quarterback, I'm taking Penn State in that one.
I also picked Penn State. Half of my reason was because they're home. Because Penn State, like I just mentioned is one of the hardest places to play in the country. And this next one, you might be like say it's an easy game to pick, but this team gave Oklahoma trouble, and then they blew out their next opponent, Tulane at Ole Miss.
Man, the last time I went against Ole Miss, they spanked Louisville. They spanked Louisville, but they almost beat Oklahoma by 5. I'm gonna go out on a limb again. Actually, no, this is more than going out on a limb. I'm gonna go Tulane. I'm gonna go Tulane.
Oh, wow. Coming with all these predictions here.
Tulane's on the road, or is Tulane at home?
Tulane's on the road.
Who did they play at home last week?
They have not, so they've technically been the home team, but since the hurricane,
I didn't think about that.
they've been playing at like different places.
Yeah, I'm taking Tulane. I think for me, I think Ole Miss is kind of overrated. And I feel like they're gonna have to prove me wrong against a real top opponent. But as of right now, I'm picking Tulane. I really like what I'm seeing from Tulane, especially from
Then I gotta ask, if you're picking Tulane, if Ole Miss beats Tulane, does that give Ole Miss some validity in your book?
To an extent, yeah, because they were able to compete with Oklahoma. So like I'm kind of using like the transitive property here, but like Tulane on paper, it's a good team. Like they were able, even though they didn't win, they were able to compete with Oklahoma till the final minutes, and then they blew out. I don't even know who they played, but yeah, to an
All right.
extent.
And then we got Michigan State at Miami.
Michigan State's been looking really good. Kenneth Walker, Peyton Thorne, Bird, Jaden Reed, and that defense has been looking really good too. I think I'm gonna take Michigan State in that game. I feel like Michigan State's gonna make some noise.
I had to go with I went with Miami. And this was out going out on a limb. I think Michigan State's the better team. They've been playing better. But I was like, you know what? Derek King was not a Heisman candidate, but he was someone people talked about as a Heisman sleeper. So I was like, you know what? He's gonna have a day. So I had to go with Miami here. All right, the final game. We got Minnesota at Colorado. Two teams that have almost knocked off top 10 teams in the country. But they just both fell just a little bit short. Neither one is ranked, but both fell short of knocking down top 10 teams in the country. Who do you got?
Are they in Minnesota or are they in Colorado?
In Colorado. And I think Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, is ranked now.
I think the way that Colorado
I'm mistaken, they're not ranked.
The way that Colorado played against Texas A&M is really a bright spot, even though they lost, but it's a bright spot for them because they played really good. And playing there, you also got to think about like the altitude. It's harder to breathe up there. It's harder to play in like stadiums like that. So I think Colorado has the home field advantage, and I think Colorado can beat this Minnesota team.
All right. I also had Colorado. So here we go. Before I lock it in here. Alabama, Florida. You have Florida. I got Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, Indiana. I have Indiana. You have Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, Penn State across the board. Tulane, Ole Miss. Tulane for you, Ole Miss for me. Michigan State, Miami. You got MSU and the boys. I got Miami. And Minnesota at Colorado across the board.
Yes,
so we only have 2 games in common. This winner of this week will determine a lot here in our standings because we are knotted up at 5-5 after I went 4-2 last week, and I think you went 3-3.
Oh, okay.
So two two close games last week, or two. It was a close matchup last week for me versus you, and it's been close throughout this year. Hopefully, we start to have more success with our picks because NFL and college, we both kind of struggled here.
Yeah.
But we haven't. The first week we didn't know what everyone was about, so it was tougher. And that's why I think that our team. That's why I think that we did better in the recent weeks.
I agree. I agree. Thank you, Cooper Noard, for coming on to the show. Me and Mike hope that you guys have a great season at Glenbrook. Glenbrook. Excuse me, Glenbrook. And as always, thank you for listening to the podcast, man. I know, like, thank you for listening to the podcast. I thought I had something to say, but man, I had nothing to say. So thank you. As always, trust the process. We will catch you Thursday. Subscribe to our podcast on all podcasting platforms. Like and comment our videos on YouTube. Go check out the new YouTube video out now with my previous interview. And as always, trust the process. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. And we'll catch you Thursday. Later. Peace.